Vlad, thank you so much for joining me here today. I really appreciate that you are here today with me. And we're gonna speak today about a very interesting concept behind the block parties. So for those maybe who are not that familiar, you can explain what is the block party about, and what actually inspired you to launch block party in the first place.
So Blockparty is a digital assets platform. And digital assets for us mean digital art, collectibles in sports, in music. Blockparty, what inspired us to get here is actually a bit of a story, not too long. Blockparty was founded initially as a ticketing company. The purpose of Blockparty was to use non-fungible tokens as concert tickets, such that concert tickets would be totally unique, impossible to fake. Prices can be controlled so they're not resold. And Blockparty was initially very disruptive. We ticketed a big launch party for ourselves, and eventually we sold out a music festival, 5,000 tickets on the blockchain in Miami in 2018 for Best Life Festival. These were early successes, but the ticketing business is limiting, and there's a lot of headwinds. We eventually adapted our approach to not compete with the entertainment space for ticketing, but rather turn everyone in the entertainment space into partners. So we started thinking about, how can an NFT be more than a ticket? How can an NFT serve the creative world in art, in music, in sports, which is also entertainment based? How can we use NFTs to service everyone, not just a ticket? At this time, when we started making that pivot, I stepped in as a CEO because of my background. Prior to entering the blockchain industry, the first 10 years of my career were spent in the fine art business. I managed an art fund, and I've been working in the fine art space as a dealer, as a fund manager, and I've known a lot about that world. So I've seen, before the pivot, I've started to see this really exciting, maybe a little bit niche movement of digital artists discovering the non-fungible token as a means to monetize their art. And from when I was first exposed to the non-fungible token art scene in 2018 to when we began this pivot at the end of 2019, it had already grown and expanded so quickly. And now there's art fairs happening, and there's all these wonderful entrepreneurs that are getting to that space. I knew this is the future. And so it was an opportunity to use my passion and an opportunity to use my background to create a platform that is not only NFTs for collectibles, but NFTs for mainstream artists that are interested in digital art and creating it, for mainstream collectors that have heard about digital art, that want to learn about digital art and maybe collect and start collecting digital art.
For those who are not familiar with the non-fungible tokens, can you explain what they are and how the block party uses them to actually enable the secure trading of the original or limited edition artwork or collectibles?
I think that the best way to communicate what is a non-fungible token is that it's a sort of digital watermark. I think some people have an easier time thinking about it as a digital title. We think about, when most people hear about cryptocurrency, they think about, of course, Bitcoin, and that there's a blockchain, whatever that is for most people, on which Bitcoin exists, and there may only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. And I generally ask people to just consider all that same information, that same definition, except now there's a blockchain that just supports one token and only one unique token, and there may only ever be one. The metadata within that token makes it unique from any other token. So as somebody comes from the art world, I always say, you have prints, like, printmaking, where you can make an edition of 100, 500, 1,000, etc. And then there's the old masters, where each oil painting was a one of one. Such is true with a non-fungible token. Every token is a one of one. So what better way to underpin a digital art piece than a token standard that can't be duplicated, faked, transactions can't be faked for a piece of digital art. That is what gets really interesting. And I encourage folks not to think about the NFT as lines of code, but rather an opportunity. An opportunity such that digital art has actually existed for decades. Yeah. Digital art has existed since there was digital. Whereas it's not been mainstream is that it's difficult to monetize digital art. How do you prove ownership? How do you prove the ability to purchase it? Once somebody does purchase it, how do they collect it? How do they experience it? The NFT makes it possible to now own and monetize and prove provenance of digital art. So here's this wonderful opportunity where you've always had digital art, and now there's been a tech upgrade in the world that makes it possible, or at least easier, to display, collect, and sell it.
Yeah, exactly. And but to be honest with you, to consider your background in a traditional arts, I would love to know, when were you first introduced to the world of the crypto and the blockchain?
I've been a hobbyist since about 2014. And I've heard about Bitcoin. I did some mining. Some of my friends were into it. It was a cool hobby. And I can actually remember where I was when I had the aha moment of what the capabilities are. And it was actually part of my job in the art business. And I was reading about smart contracts. And I think like anybody else that learned about cryptocurrency and blockchain that was working in the art business and has experienced how difficult it can be to prove provenance, to trace title, any transaction can be, I thought, wow, smart contracts are going to change the way that the catalog raisonné even exists. It's going to change the way provenance is tracked. It's going to change the way authenticity is tracked. But although there are many projects doing that, that was never my passion to leave the art business and get into the blockchain business. My passion to get into the blockchain business was to create something new, was to open up a new way of collecting, rather than making a catalog raisonné a digital one.
Yeah, exactly. And to talk about a little bit of the artists, right now you have a pretty few incredible artists, on the platform, like Madsteez and Keeley and Harif Guzman, right? But are more on the way. And what kind of the interest or the feedback are you getting from the creators?
I think that I'll start with, are there more artists on the way? And the answer is yes. We've spoken to many artists, artists that are digital artists that understand blockchain, digital artists that do not understand blockchain, but we've spoken to a lot of mainstream artists and a lot of mainstream, not just artists, but also musicians that want to create art. We're actually very interested in the intersection of music and art. Every music festival, every rock tour has a poster, has marketing collateral that is truly art. The light shows at some of these festivals are truly art in themselves. We're actually interested in capturing the art that's around music and bringing that to the world. So we have musicians that are really keen on bringing their visual aspects onto this marketplace. That's something to expect quite soon on Blockparty. In terms of mainstream artists, many are curious. Many want to try this. Photographers especially. If you think about it, photography is really a digitally native art form since we stopped using negatives. So a lot of photographers have talked to us exploring the idea of a digital print. What was really wonderful, and I'll always be grateful to Keeley, Madsteez, and Harif Guzman, is that they were not only curious, they were willing to be first. They were willing to put themselves out there. And I think that the feedback from them has been mostly positive. You're talking about 3 artists that are career artists, that are renowned in their fields. Their paintings sell for fantastic numbers, and they're trying a new medium where the price points are maybe lower. They're trying a new medium where the collectors are a little bit different. This was really going out into uncharted waters for them. I applaud their bravery, and I'm always going to be grateful that they trusted Blockparty to bring them into this world. And then we had this wonderful launch last week on Thursday. Really out of the gate, things started to sell. And over those days, that Thursday, that Friday, when the artists would log in and take a look and be like, how's it going? How's it, I think they were expecting maybe people to be like, what is this? And maybe their audiences to be like, what's going on? And actually the feedback was so positive for all three. By Thursday night, we had certain people that had purchased artworks tweeting and Instagramming the artworks they bought. And for that beautiful moment, I felt more in touch with what makes me passionate about art, which is, it wasn't about, my canvas works sell for this much, or my digital artwork sell for that much. For that moment, it was somebody that was so happy to own a Harif Guzman, somebody that was so happy to own a Madsteez, somebody that was so happy to own a Keeley, and they're talking about our mind. And you realize that at the end of the day, art is about collectorship. That's what it's about. You can talk all day about the art market, prices, guarantees, this, that, and the next thing. But what I tell people that are interested in the art business, start with collectorship and understand collectorship. Then learn everything about the art business, and you will see that everything you spend 10 years learning every detail of the art business, and you'll just come back and realize, it's about collectorship. And I hope that our mission is successful at Blockparty, which is to bring that understanding to the digital art world and to this crypto art world, that it's about collectorship. I've seen the other platforms, who I do respect, talk about, the NFT makes it possible to own and sell the artwork, thus that's the utility of art, to be able to own and sell it. No. It's Blockparty is about collectorship. It's about bringing artists onto the platform, giving them space, encouragement, resources to create beautiful artworks. All that NFT technology we keep under the hood. It's happening in the back end. So we bring on collectors, and it's not terribly complex to buy digital art on Blockparty. We bring it back, where you don't require you to have a decentralized wallet preloaded with Ethereum. Now, we provide you a wallet. All of the cryptocurrency processes are happening, but they're happening in the back end. We ultimately make it easy to collect and own these things, because it's got to be about collectorship.
Is actually just try to make people to move from the traditional way of the collecting art to the digital one, and through the blockchain technology, you just securing the easy process, and especially safe process, so you're assuring the authenticity and everything with that. But talking about the price point, we've seen here at Ion News NFTs and the blockchain embraced by the gaming and the sport community already, like a CryptoKitties, Sandbox, and so on. But is there actually the currently viable market of the buyers for really expensive digital art and collectibles? Obviously, as you said, it was sold out, but let's say we're talking about really like extremely expensive digital art.
The short answer is yes. We just saw it. Everyone's seen the headlines of the $100,000 CryptoKitty. Last week, Paris Hilton sold an Ethereum cat for $17,000. Just last month, Nifty Gateway had a really great sale with an artist making $55,000 on a beautiful Picasso bull. This beautiful moving cubist work, and it's showing that to step away from the Paris Hilton example for a second, but let's focus on the Picasso bull. You have really a high quality artwork. if it's high quality, the money and the collectors will come. But you asked not specifically about crypto art, about digital art in general. So I think that a year ago it was that Christie's or Sotheby's did an auction of AI created art. And it's not that whatever the prices happened at those auctions, I think it wasn't like what anybody hoped it would be, but you're talking about the two biggest brands in art sales in the world embracing digital art. It's here, right? You have this wonderful community of generative artists using AI to create art and selling quite well and having these big communities. You're seeing art fairs that are specifically focused in digital art, like Contemporary Digital Art Fair that launched it launched a year and a half ago, and they've already had exhibits they've already had their fair in New York during Frieze or Armory, in Miami during Basel, and it was supposed to be this summer in Paris when it went online. So you have already these marketplaces embracing digital art. So yes, I think that there is an interested market. I think that for that interested market to become an actively buying market and to spend big dollar amounts, we have to continue making progress towards quality. And we have to continue making it collectible.
Exactly. And I think also with the general education of the people, how the people will learn that the blockchain technology is not just about Bitcoin, right? But it actually can be really useful for everyday life. I think with that, it will, the trends will go on, and I think the future is positive. Definitely the future is positive when it comes to this. But we were talking about the feedback from the creators, but what about, and you will be the right person to answer this, what about the feedback from the traditional art and auction world, like galleries and the dealers, how they are responding at what you are doing at Blockparty?
Of course. Just share some personal experience. I've gone back to sort of my roots, and I've talked to the auction houses and I've talked to the galleries, and there is a very healthy interest. So enough of an interest that I walked out of those meetings more confident in what we're doing at Blockparty, because that interest also came with a healthy and proper dose of skepticism. Is the art going to be quality enough that we can show it to our collectors? Are the artists working on it going to be high profile enough? And is it going to be seamless and collectible to purchase? And I walked out of those meetings thinking, we can do that. But there is healthy skepticism, right? Those things have to be there. And there has to be a platform that can deliver those things. I think the other platforms in the space are doing great work. I think Blockparty, I'm so proud of my team that is doing great work. And we have our philosophy about collectorship and about mainstream artists. Other platforms have their philosophy about the role of crypto and about the role of the transactions and about the secondary market. And I love that, right? I love that there are different platforms in the space with their own philosophies, creating and adding to it. But to more directly answer your question, it's there, right? You're seeing auction houses like Sotheby's hiring advanced developers. Seeing already in the last 10 years, auction houses fully embracing online auctions. So you're seeing the high-end galleries, Pace especially, move in such a digital forward direction. My prediction is in the next year, 2-3 years, it will be commonplace for a gallery, for a big gallery, to have a CTO.
I believe so as well. And my very, very last question is, so what are your plans in the long term with the Blockparty, and let's say where do you see it in next 3-5 years?
That's the big question. Our plans are to approach the NFT in a slightly different way. Now, I think that the idea of a token being the underpinning of a digital artwork or a digital collectible is where we are today. That's what the other platforms have done. That's what we are doing. One token represents an artwork. What I think you're going to see from Blockparty in the next year, and what that'll set us up for in subsequent years, is we're going to start thinking a lot more about the role of the wallet in all of this. So in the Bitcoin world, you keep your Bitcoins in a Bitcoin wallet, obviously. But if we're going to talk about non-fungible tokens as effectively a digital canvas on which digital arts go, well, a token has to live in a wallet. So for the collector, a wallet must be akin to where the painting hangs, or where the artwork hangs, or where the artwork lives. So we at Blockparty expect to lead in the thinking and the innovation around the role of the wallet. How can the wallet be more user-friendly? How can the wallet play a role for the collector as where they collect and how they collect and how they interact with their artwork? That, I'll stop myself there because, that's what we're building right now. But look, I think there are a lot of really wonderful things happening in the digital art space of how to experience the art, digital picture frames, digital frames. We're not necessarily going in a digital picture frame direction. I would think that we're going into a how do users interact with their wallet direction. And so to your question, what does Blockparty look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Well, in 3 years, the way in which digital art is purchased and is shown might be via a very different way of representing the wallet to the public. When you walk into a gallery and you're looking at digital artwork on a wall, maybe that's a wallet. Maybe you can interact with that wallet and not just, anyway, I'll stop myself there, but I'll just kind of put a fine point on it. That's what we're thinking about. That's what we're thinking about innovating. And I think you'll see us be doing some different things in the way in which people purchase their art, their digital art, or digital collectibles. It may not be on the desktop computer or just like scrolling on your phone.
Excellent. I mean, it's pretty clear that, the Blockparty is having, the different approach when it comes to the digital art and the collectibles. And I really believe that you're going to gain a lot of success. And, we're going to be there to covering it. So let's see.
I really appreciate that. And I've really, I've enjoyed reading and watching videos that are happening on your site. And one thing I have to say is I'm so happy to have to have watched a recent video and a recent interview that you did, because you put a spotlight on something very near and dear to my heart, which is my home city of Kiev in Ukraine.
I haven't known you from Ukraine. Okay, I could understand that Eastern European aspect in your name, but but I didn't know it's Ukraine. Oh, great! So yeah.
Well, the video you did about esports and gaming in Ukraine. There's so much great development and so much great movement in esports there. The first art show I ever produced, I produced in Kiev as something that I wanted to do for my home city. I grew up in New York, but it's still, my family's, a lot of my family is there. My father's there a lot of the time. So to see Ukraine in the spotlight for a good reason, is so meaningful to me.
As you know, we are covering the blockchain, esports, and the gaming. And, because we really believe that those all three industries, they are overlapping, and as for you, you're involved in the digital art and the collectibles, but, you learn about the blockchain and, it's overlapping at the moment. And then, even in the esports, like when people think about the esports, they just imagine, the playing, the millennials. But, there's a huge business even of the the art, the designers, the musicians, everyone who's preparing the video games, working on the video games. So I think it's really overlapping, and all those three industries are becoming kind of one, and that's why we believe at Ion News that that's actually the future, and we shouldn't limit ourselves just for the art or blockchain or crypto, or it's becoming all one space, let's say.
It's becoming all one metaverse. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think we're rapidly approaching a Ready Player One future, where we're already there for games. I think when I was a kid. Why am I joking with you? When I was a kid, I still play video games. When I play video games, I bought, they come in a box or a disc, and the game you play is inside of this world that the developers created. And now video games have taken their natural evolution, where it's open world and it's really becoming a digital universe for people to come and plug into. So if you're going to have this digital universe, we've seen commerce within the digital universe for almost 20 years now, right? I remember playing Second Life the first time in 2002, and with Linden dollars, and economies within these games are not a new concept. But just like I said earlier, digital art is not a new concept. What we're going through right now is a new evolution of making it easy to own assets in the game. You can already live in the game. Now it's time to own assets in the game. And if you can own assets in the game, why can't you experience art in the game? We're already seeing it with concerts in Fortnite. Yeah. We're already seeing it with, by the way, can we just stop for a second? Video games are digital art.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I was actually about, to say, actually, like, I know it's not like in a traditional way, let per se, the art, but it is the art. I mean, all video games. I mean, I'm also involved, in a slot business. It's a little bit different, but even the graphics, the guys who are working on the graphics for the slots games, they are inspired by by the video games and the artists who are doing the video games. So it's all one. It's basically art. We're calling it different names, but it's art.
Look, I've seen Instagram accounts that every day they post art on Instagram. That's something that they created. And I think that what's really fun about, my brother is 15 years old, and watching the way that he's grown up native to the internet, he's exposed to a lot more art than I was when I was his age, because I think the way in which he's experiencing video games, the way that he experiences social networking, the way that he experiences so much of what's around him, a lot of it is really artistic and really beautiful. So I think that it's I'm very happy to live in this world, especially with Blockparty, where over time, as we continue to add to our product, that we're part of this metaverse, of this hybrid physical digital world. And if we are able to help usher in some of the world's best creators, artists, musicians, to take this more seriously, then I think we've done something good. And that's I'm 100% sure that everyone on our team is passionate about that.
Thank you. I mean, did you ever visit Malta?
Yes, as I'm sure you know really well, in the last 2 or 3 years, Malta's become like a crypto hub. So everybody looking to launch a security token has looked at Malta. So actually, Malta is a very special place for me, because Malta is not only Malta has become sort of a crypto capital, but it's also one of the most beautiful art destinations in the world. So Malta becomes somewhere that I traveled to last year and the year before that, and it's great because the crypto world is there, the art world is there, and I'm right at home.
And because that culture, I mean, for me, it's like there's a lot of pros and cons of that place, but I mean, I love that place, and I can really see it's a very special place because the Mediterranean culture, it still allows it's very honest and straightforward. People are always smiling and very helpful, but then there is this business side, and there's really, like as you said, the crypto hub, gaming hub. They try to push even the esports, and as well as you are saying, there's great artists as well. So, it's pretty incredible how that, the concentration of all those things on small, tiny island, because it's really tiny place. It's tiny.
I'm telling you, Simona, it's not an accident. I really don't believe that, you could have entire swaths of land with nothing and then little tiny islands with so much. Some places in the world are just special. Yeah. And Malta is certainly one of those places.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I think we ended up excellently because we talk about something very interesting. I could talk with you about that for hours. But have a nice weekend, and we stay in touch. So
you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.